OK, let's bring in our next guest. Osama is a finance broker in Cairo. Osama, we heard in one of those videos the man used the word premature. Do you think this award for President Obama is just that?
No, I don't think so, because already he has no accomplishments on ground, as all the people say. But the issue is he has moved things which were not moving for years or decades. First of all, President Obama is at peace with himself, and that's the most important part, where he simplifies everything and politics and seems to be a peaceful person. Then he has started to talk to Iran, he has started to talk to Korea, he opened up the Middle East peace process. Again, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. He talked to the Islamic world from Cairo. He's trying to reunite the Americans themselves inside. So I think it's a well-deserved tap on the back for President Obama. It won't make him more famous, richer, more powerful. It's a nice tap on the back where Europe or the Nobel Prize is saying it's a good step. We had during the Bush era where the US had only the UK as an ally, major ally in Europe. Now the US is talking to the whole world. We're seeing the G8 opening up.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
We're seeing the G8 opening up to a G20.
Sorry, Osama, we've got a slight delay on the line, but Dan, I can see you listening intently to this list from Osama. What would you say to him? He's impressed by what President Obama has done in a short space of time.
Well, I think if we were giving an award for talk, we should consider Jay Leno or David Letterman. They talk every night. Let's give them the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, they've actually accomplished more than Obama has, who has been in office. He was in the Senate for 2 years, never showed up, started running for the presidency. He's been there 9 months. He's been dawdling on Afghanistan. There are people fighting and dying today, and he can't even make a decision. He has turned everything over to Congress here. He's going to be a failed president. Jimmy Carter wanted, Yasser Arafat wanted. I guess in that sense he's in good company, but I think it shows how bankrupt that institution is and basically liberalism in general. It's a lot of awards for a lot of talk about nothing that accomplishes nothing in the end.
And before we bring in a guest from the MDC, a spokesperson for the MDC from Zimbabwe, let's address Saeed Khan, this issue of Afghanistan. I just looked up the civilian deaths there caused by US airstrikes. The UN mission in Afghanistan says in the region of 250 to 300 civilians just in 2009 killed by American rockets. Barack Obama's the commander-in-chief, and he's now won the Nobel Peace Prize. Lots of people don't see how those two things add up.
Clearly, it would appear as though it's a contradiction, but we have found that there have been Nobel laureates who have been ones engaged in conflict in the past. So that has not exactly served as a disqualifying feature for winning the Nobel Prize. But it seems to me that Mr. Deal's issue with the Nobel Committee and with the Peace Prize as an institution then really precludes him from criticizing who should win, because whether the person solves the issue of conflicts in the Middle East or elsewhere, or even cures cancer, it seems as though inherently there's something wrong with the Peace Prize as a demonstration of gratitude for that.
And if you're watching, I'm particularly curious to hear if you think there is a contradiction between what the US forces are doing in Afghanistan and President Obama winning this award, or do you think the two things go perfectly well together? Well, one of the other things you're talking about at worldhaveyourSay.com, and to be honest, on thousands of other blogs, are who should have won it if President Obama shouldn't have. Let's speak now to Matthew Nyashana from the Movement for Democratic Change in Zimbabwe, though he's in Birmingham in the UK. Matthew, thank you for joining World Have Your Say. Should your leader, Morgan Tsvangirai, have won this award?
Yeah, first of all, I would like to correct you to say that I am the spokesperson for the Movement for Democratic Change in UK and Ireland, not in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, that's Nelson Chamisa. I
stand corrected. Now, should your leader have won?
Yeah, going back to the burning condition here, I think we appreciate very well what President Obama has done, especially in the Middle East, and also trying to bring in peace across the world. But however, one would also like to look at a developing country in Africa where there was no rule of law, where people were dying, and where a man like Morgan Tsvangirai has fought for a long time in the trenches, and here was the time to recognize him and also give motivation to those African leaders and other developing world that, you know, you can work for peace and it can be recognized. Morgan Tsvangirai has been working without any resources in Zimbabwe, and everyone would appreciate the work that has been done now, taking into consideration the lives that were lost in the run-up to the 2008 elections. And I think Morgan Tsvangirai deserved some recognition there.
So you make the case. I can see Dan nodding as you're speaking.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more.
Saeed Khan, would Morgan Tsvangirai have been a better choice? Someone who's actually achieved something rather than someone who's talking about achieving something?
I'm not sure if the phrase "better choice" is really the only one on the table, Ross. I think that Mr. Tsvangirai is certainly a deserving candidate. Not being on the Nobel Committee, I guess I'm absolved from having to make these very tough decisions. But again, I think it goes down to two factors: one, prematurity, and the other about whether the prize is supposed to be about achievement thus far, or even if symbolism can count. Certainly Aung San Suu Kyi in Burma has not achieved peace in Burma, but the symbolic value of her winning the Nobel Prize is something that provides inspiration for others as well.
And I know, Mariam, you want to come in, but just before you do, it's worth mentioning that wherever you're watching, whether it's on the television on BBC World News or if you're listening on BBC World Service, you're always welcome to get in touch and speak directly to any of our guests. And we have Alexandra on the phone from St. Petersburg in Russia. Alexandra, we appreciate you getting in touch. Do you think President Obama is deserving of this award?
No, actually, I don't think so. I don't mean that I've got something against him as a person, and I supported him during the election. But even then, he was treated like a new Jesus Christ who would solve all the problems. And, well, obviously, it's quite difficult to meet such high expectations. And I don't think that he has started, which is a bit worrying. So, no, I don't think he has deserved it yet.
But Alexandra, speaking outside of the White House, what he said was this is a call to action. This isn't always an award to award achievements. It's also an encouragement for a process. And he's claiming he started a process, along with many other people, that this award is now supporting. Can you see that point of view?
Well, yes, but, you know, there are lots of people who say that we should live in peace and we should start disarmament and we should stop the conflict in the Middle East. But, well, everyone is accepting action from him. I don't know, withdrawing troops from Iraq and doing something with gas emissions, well, you know, Kyoto Protocol, everything. And, well, he's making great speeches, I agree. But, well, everyone is expecting at least the end of the war with Iraq.
Well, Alexandra, you're sceptical about this. Mariam, come in here, because when President Obama announced the missile shield was being cancelled, it was seen by a lot of people who took part in World Have Your Say debates as you know, a good gesture towards Russia, which in turn would help Russia and America put pressure on Iran not to develop nuclear weapons. Do you think that's been a wise tactic?
I think so far, whatever Obama has done, which is, I would say, very little, but not to forget that Obama went into power carrying so much problems and the issues that he had to, the baggages that he had from Bush administrations that he had to solve. And of course, now his responsibility, not just to the American people, as well as people around the world, not just being head of a very powerful country, I mean, the most powerful country in the world, because of the powerful, a government with that much capacity in arms, just as well as his role as making changes in environmental issues, in political issues, and economical issues. Our friend mentioned it in Africa. Of course, being an African and have this chance of serving the world, I think it's a good choice that they have given this to him. Hopefully, let's hope that he will make changes worldwide, not just for one region.
And I'm listening to you, Mariam, and you're talking about his responsibility to the world. It's reminding me of emails we often receive to World Have Your Say from those of you in America who point out he's actually our president, not the rest of the world. And I wonder if that's how you're feeling today.